What's happening, everybody? Power Stroke Jude here. I'm going to show you guys a quick video on how to stop a water leak into the passenger compartment on a 2006 Chevy HHR. Kind of a common issue. There's a water deflector that goes underneath the cowl in the engine bay. Let me get to it. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Alright guys, so here's the HHR. You know, here's the cowl. Underneath here there's a water deflector. It's actually this part right here. It's just some foam with some rubber sealing or a seal around it, and I'll show you the old one as it comes off. But what it does is it leaks and it gets water down here into the passenger compartment, usually on the passenger side. This customer actually complained about a little bit on the driver's side, but this is what I'm gonna do. These are some of the tools that I'm gonna need. You know, not much. It doesn't take much to do the job. You need a couple sockets. It's a 15 millimeter and a 7 millimeter. Some cleaning stuff. This is what I'm gonna use to take off the windshield wipers. It's a little puller. You know, no big deal. What I'm gonna do is pull out these caps. Sometimes you can pull them off. Sometimes, oh, that one came right off. Other times you need you know, a little pocket pry bar or something. Here's the other one. Let me see if I can get in there. Well, that one came right off too. Perfect. So those are the 215s that you got to replace on the windshield wipers, and then you pull them off with that puller. I guess you could probably spray them down and see if they come right out, but if they give you a struggle, don't get a pry bar or anything like that. Those pullers aren't expensive. You know, I think you can get them for 10, 15, 20 bucks. Then there's a bunch of 7s. There's one right there. Same on the other side, but around the cowl, you pull out all the 7s, and once that's out, you can pull that out, and I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like with that off, and then we'll go a little bit further. I'll see you in a minute. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like when I get the cowl off. What you will have to also do is you have your windshield wiper hose. You know, these spots right here, there's some little squeeze clips that you got to squeeze to take them down, and I didn't want to disconnect it from the sprayers, so I just kind of pulled off the cowl to the side. But you see that hole right there where you can see the cabin air filter. Shoot, if you look real deep in there, you can see a nest on that cabin air filter. This vehicle is from Forest Falls, California. Forest Falls is a mountain area. Maybe you guys haven't heard of it, but similar to Big Bear. Most people have probably heard of Big Bear. But this giant hole that you see is supposed to be covered by this. And now we know why it's leaking, because it's not covered by that. So that's what I'm going to be replacing with the new one. I'm going to clean up some of this dust, clean up the dirt, make sure it seals real well, and I'll be getting back at you guys in a minute. See you in a second. And you know, I forgot to say this earlier, but anyone who's still watching this far, do me a favor. Remember, like, share, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell. Tell me any similar concerns that you guys have had with water in the cab. I know that's usually, or the passenger compartment, that's usually like a heater core or something like that, but there are other issues, you know, windshields, water deflector. You know, tell me what you guys did, or if you guys have ever had this repair and struggled to get it out. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you, now that we're back at it, was these are the posts right here for the, I'm going to clean those up a little bit too, for the windshield wipers. And what you do is you get this puller, you squeeze it open, put it underneath the wiper blade, underneath, excuse me, this part of the blade. It goes on like this. You can see that. And I know a lot of people don't need this information, but there's some people who've never worked on a car and they want to do something themselves, and this is for them. Then as you twist this right here from the bottom, you can see where the stud comes out, and it applies pressure to this stud, and it just pulls off the wiper blade. I thought I'd show you guys that real quick too. Alright, so let me get this back together, and then I'll show you how it looks before I put it back together. See you in a minute. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like when it's back together. You can see that plastic, the part, it came with the bead of some kind of silicone. I don't know, the customer called it Dum Dum. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. That might be what it's called. But it just we had a nice clean surface, and we ran it around and we flattened it all out. Right here, where you can see my finger at, and right here, this is a factory part, but it was just a little, no matter what I did, if I brought this side towards me more, then it didn't line up here. If I brought it, you know, it couldn't line up, so I got a little bit of this black adhesive sealant, silicone RTV, and I just filled the gap and I sat it down a little bit to make sure everything went down nice and tight. You know, I just got a little flat spatula, you know, putty knife type thing, and ran it down, make sure it all sat. The stuff that came from the factory was already kind of ready to go on. I'm going to let this other stuff dry a little bit. If you guys want the factory part, this is the GM part, 25785783, and it's a water deflector for an 06 Chevy HHR. So now that I got this back together, I can show you. You know, I did clean up that rat's nest, you know, just be nice for the customer. I'll let them know it was there. You can see I cleaned up all the debris. If you guys remember from earlier in the video, there was all kinds of, you know, like I said, he lives in a wooded area, so there was all kinds of twigs and leaves and stuff like that. You know, I sucked all that up and cleaned it up. So now, like I said, this was the old one, and that's the new one. And you can see it had the same kind of silicone or putty around it. So make sure you get that stuff off real good before you, and clean your mating surface, so that way it's nice and it sticks real nice and tight. You get a good sealing surface. I'm gonna button this thing up, and I'll come back and I'll talk to you when I'm done. See you in a minute. Alright guys, we're back with the finished product. As you can see, everything's back installed. The cowl's back in, the 7s are back on. I got the windshield wipers and the caps on. One thing I failed to mention was to get the cowl off, there's a little panel pop or push pin right there. One on the other side as well. Make sure you take those off and replace it. There's a groove right here, you know, where this cable goes through. You can kind of see this. It's kind of dark, but you can see it a little bit. What I did fail to tell you earlier, and I don't know if it's smart or stupid or not, or just me, but with as you can see, there's put some tape on the windshield just to mark off, you know, where I had the position of the wipers. So when I put them back on, they weren't off-centered or anything like that. So that was just another quick tip. And another important reason on why to change this, on one other vehicle, I did one of these once before, and it didn't come in here for water in the passenger compartment or the cab. What it came in for was the blower motor wasn't working, and so I was digging into it. I took it apart, and I found it, and it was all wet and smelled like mildew. And I was like, where's water getting on this thing from? So I did a little bit of investigating, and I found it wasn't quite as bad as this one, but it was real similar. The water deflector was just pretty much not there, so I'm guessing he never came back to me and said he had a problem, so I'm guessing that's what the issue was. Fixed the blower motor, and you know, he never had any water issues either. But anyways, this is a completed job. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. For those of you who are familiar with vehicles, I know it was probably a lot of stuff I told you that you didn't need to know. For those of you who are not too familiar with working on vehicles, I hope this was informative and helpful. If you guys ever have any question or want to know something, you know, one of my subscribers asked me to do a video on tools he might need to maintain his own diesel. He says he's not very mechanically inclined, but I'm gonna put together a little video for him and see if I can help him out. But anyways, as I finish this video, let me ask you guys all once again to please like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. Until next time, Power Stroke Jude out.